Over a year, the hours of daylight per day and the average daily temperature varies greatly. How long a variety of wheat needs to complete its growth cycle largely depends on the day length and temperature. Time of sowing is critical for grain production and depends on the wheat variety. In southern Australia, wheat varieties that take longer to grow are sown early in the season. Our farmer Chris chooses to grow a long season winter wheat used to feed livestock. The Zadok scale is used in agriculture to name the stages of wheat growth. The scale ranges from Z0 to Z99. By June, Chris's wheat has germinated and is tillering with a Z21. Chris's neighbour, Pat, chooses to sow the same variety of winter wheat in an adjoining paddock. The animation will demonstrate the differences in the stage of development and the risks to sowing the same wheat at two different times. By July, Pat's wheat is sown but has missed out on 8 weeks of the season. Therefore, Pat's wheat is only at Z13. Chris's wheat is now advancing through tillering with a Z25. It is now very cold with a high chance of frost and day lengths are short. The crops do not grow very much during this time. This is a valuable time for winter wheat as it needs a long cold period to trigger flowering. This period is called vernalisation and happens in both crops. In October, Chris's wheat is flowering with a Z65 and is vulnerable to frost that will damage the flowers and reduce grain yield if temperatures get below 0 degrees Celsius. Pat's wheat is less advanced with a Z31 and therefore unlikely to be damaged by frost. In November, Chris's wheat is at grain filling stage with a Z75. Any area of Chris's crop that is damaged by frost produces less grain. Pat's wheat is now flowering with a Z65 and the time of greatest frost risk has passed. However, summer is approaching, soil water is being depleted and there is now a risk that Pat's crop will be damaged by excessive heat if temperatures get above 30 degrees Celsius. Chris's wheat is ready to harvest with a Z93 in late December. In frost-affected areas, the grain is shrivelled and yield is reduced. In areas not affected by frost, the grain is plump. Pat's wheat is ready to harvest with a Z93 only a few weeks later than Chris's wheat, despite being sown much later. Pat's wheat catches up because there was only a short time between sowing and vernalisation, and this type of wheat is somewhat sensitive to day length. As the days get longer, the crop's development quickens in an effort to reach maturity. The late sowing means Pat's wheat has less time to fill the grain. This leads to lower grain yields. The delay in crop maturity by a couple of weeks pushes harvest into January.